Meghan Markle's latest podcast venture has spectacularly dropped out of the streaming charts just weeks after hitting the airwaves. Meghan Markle, so her new podcast series, Confessions of a Female Founder, has failed to burn up the streaming charts. How bad is it really for Meghan?
Look, this is pretty bad, Gab. I mean, this show was a multi-million-dollar production. This was what she signed up with Lemonada Media for. Came out last month, the first batch of episodes, and it's just been a complete flop.
Oh, honey, let me spill this piping hot tea because it's too juicy to hold back. Meghan Markle's big stunt backfired in the most humiliating way possible. Picture this. She waltzes into HBO Max's exclusive Emmy nominee bash without an invite, mind you, clearly expecting red carpets to roll, champagne to pour, and Hollywood's finest to bow at her feet. But baby, reality smacked her harder than anyone expected. Instead of adoring smiles, she got booed. Instead of cheers, she got whispers and side eyes. And the cherry on top, she was treated like an outsider. Now imagine this scene, the ballroom dripping with Emmy legends, power producers, and A-list stars. Meghan steps in, probably thinking she's still the main character, but the reaction? Pure ice. Cold stares, audible gasps, and not a single ounce of love. It was the universe screaming at her, loud and clear, that her star power has fizzled out. Was this supposed to be a bold, attention-grabbing power play? Or was it the desperate move of someone clinging to fading fame in a world that's moved on? Think about it. How do you go from dominating global headlines to being shoved out of Hollywood's spotlight so publicly? But baby, that was just the opening act. The next humiliation? Oh, it revealed just how far her image has crumbled.
But there are reports that they got a special sort of celebrity VIP package which is offered to high-profile guests, which sees them sort of driven around backstage and also given the cast entrances and exits so that they're not in the public space as much. And also it appears that the kids may have had their little cute Mickey and Minnie Mouse ears on.
Here's where it all crumbled like a cheap foundation. Meghan's so-called comeback project. She tried to ride back into the spotlight with her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. And let's be real, the project had big money, huge hype, and Lemonada Media backing her like it was the second coming. But girl, within weeks the podcast tanked. Poof, gone from the charts faster than a one-hit wonder. People tuned in out of curiosity, sure, but did they stay? Nope. It was fluff. Empty talk with zero substance. Audiences wanted meaning, depth, something new, but Meghan served up shallow chatter and the numbers exposed her. For someone desperate to brand herself as a powerful voice for women, this flop screamed the opposite. And maybe, just maybe, that's why she stormed the Emmy event uninvited. Was it a distraction from her failure or a carefully staged stunt to claw back headlines? Either way, sis, the mess was only getting started.
High-profile women that have built successful businesses, and she got some great people, the woman that created Bumble, all different types of business people, but it never rang true because she's not a business person, Gab. She married a member of the royal family, and then they left the royal family and they made a buck, selling some secrets.
And listen to this twist because it's messier than spilled champagne on couture. Meghan's Grand Emmy entrance wasn't just awkward. It exposed how little Hollywood cares anymore. She thought just showing up would light the place on fire, but insiders said producers made sure she was scrubbed from the night. No official photos, no press mentions, nothing. That's not an accident, darling. That's a deliberate eraser. Imagine the scene. Instead of polite applause, she gets eye rolls. Instead of forced smiles, she's greeted with awkward silences and whispers of desperation. She strutted in like the star she used to be, but Hollywood legends treated her like she didn't even exist. How soul-crushing must it be to believe you're still that girl and realize nobody's interested anymore? Brutal doesn't even begin to cover it. And guess what? The truth about her sneaky little arrival made it even more humiliating.
Enjoyed 2 days, as Meghan posted on Instagram, 2 days at Disneyland, and she posted a whole video which included, footage of them running around the place and going on rides, all wearing their Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse ears, and also meeting Elsa from Frozen. It's quite a cute video. Interestingly, she has included some pictures in there of the two children front on, but then she's put emojis over their face because, as we know,
Now hold on to your seats because this twist is straight out of a soap opera. Insiders spilled the details. Meghan was never even on the guest list. No RSVP, no official rep reaching out. Nada. Organizers didn't even know she was there until security whispers started buzzing through the venue. At 8:15 p.m., in she comes, slipping through a side entrance like she's still Hollywood royalty. Two suited staffers flanking her, walking with all the confidence in the world like she owned the place. But behind the scenes, chaos. Producers and PR teams were scrambling, clueless about how to handle this crash. Was it a clumsy mistake? Or was Meghan staging a bold stunt to trick the cameras into thinking she still belonged in Hollywood's inner circle? Either way, darling, it backfired spectacularly. Instead of hijacking the spotlight, she ended up being the reason everyone was whispering about her downfall, and believe me, things only spiraled further from here.
And so I think on that level alone, it doesn't really work. And I think with podcasting, unlike with Netflix, it's not enough just to have this sort of surfacey stuff.
Of course.
When you want people to tune in every week and listen for 40 minutes, I think it needs a bit of substance, and this show had no substance.
Yeah.
Since then, she is keeping it sort of partially obscured, but they seem to have a really nice time in Disneyland. Again, I was reminded of the fact she's an influencer now because it was the thank you Disneyland for having us post. Something that was very interesting about it was I wondered how they managed to do 2 days there without shutting down the park and without having people taking...
Oh, and baby, here comes the absolute nightmare moment. Meghan's uninvited strut across the ballroom floor didn't just cause murmurs, it unleashed boos. Yes, boos. At first it was just side glances, a few groans, but then the crowd erupted into loud, raw booing. No sugarcoating, no polite silence, just a tidal wave of rejection. Witnesses called it surreal, like the whole room silently agreed. Meghan did not belong there. Can you picture it? Expecting Hollywood's admiration, but instead facing a wall of disapproval from its most powerful names? This is a woman who once soaked in royal adoration and basked in Hollywood's curiosity. That contrast, oh, it was savage. That one humiliating moment sent the clearest message yet. Meghan's relevance had flatlined, but trust me, the humiliation was far from over. Because what happened next? Whew, it made her look even more powerless.
It's out of the top 100 completely. So basically, in a span of a few weeks, the show has completely disappeared without a trace. I think this is a massive PR disaster for Meghan. She chose to interview business.
Takes me to my next question, Louise. We've seen some photos that we haven't been released before. We're definitely seeing more of the kids in recent months. Obviously very tightly managed. And look, I have no objection. I mean, they're very little kids and I know they've been very protective of their kids in the past and still to an extent.
And oh, honey, just when you thought the night couldn't get any worse, it did. Once the booze died down, the real humiliation began. Security and organizers scrambled like panicked waiters in a five-star restaurant when someone drops the silverware. What do you do with Meghan Markle, uninvited and now publicly booed? Do you escort her out, creating a headline-worthy scandal, or do you tuck her away like an embarrassing secret? Well, they chose option 2, the quiet humiliation. Meghan was guided, almost ushered to a seat near the exit corridor. Let me emphasize, near the exit, far away from the cameras, far away from the champagne toasts, and miles away from the real stars of the night. Instead of bubbly champagne, she was given water. That's not refreshment, that's shade in liquid form. No interviews, no red carpet flashes, no photo ops. She was there, but she was invisible. The silence around her, louder than the booze, because it screamed one brutal truth: she did not belong there. Imagine stepping into an event, expecting your grand comeback moment only to be tucked away like an unwanted guest at a wedding. That's the sting she faced, and darling, Hollywood's elite made sure she felt every ounce of it.
Interview she did with the magazine in which she said that no, there'll be no new products until 2026. And on the other hand, she's saying she's pausing her lifestyle brand because she's worried that maybe the quality of the stock or the quantity of the stock as well is not up to par.
We're wearing glasses, so that would have kept their privacy a little bit further. But yes, that was how they celebrated Lilibet's birthday. We don't know how Archie's birthdays have been celebrated. We've gone really big for Lily's 4th, but it does seem to be the first time we're actually getting a real glimpse into how the Sussexes celebrate their kid's birthday.
Now here's the tea no one dares whisper too loudly. The rejection wasn't just from the organizers. Oh no, it came straight from the stars themselves. Meghan tried to glide through the ballroom, probably praying for a friendly face, but what she got was a cold, hard freeze. Picture it. Zendaya, queen of Hollywood herself, seated near the bar. Meghan approaches, maybe hoping for a glamorous photo together, but Zendaya, she turned to her assistant and started a fake conversation like Meghan wasn't even there. Then, Pedro Pascal, Hollywood's golden man, beloved by fans everywhere, excused himself mid-conversation and literally walked off the moment Meghan neared. It didn't stop there. Producers, stylists, even old acquaintances who used to chat with her at past events, they avoided eye contact like it was contagious. One guest described it perfectly. It was painful to watch, like secondhand embarrassment in real time. In Hollywood, image is everything, and no one wanted to be caught in a frame with Meghan, because the optics, they last forever. To be seen with her now meant being dragged into her spiral, and that, my dear, was the moment it became crystal clear. She was no longer an asset, she was a liability.
In the last week alone, we've been told that there's new products coming on Instagram. I mean, I'm thinking maybe it might be honey, given there's been so much footage and social media narrative about her beekeeping, and so you even see Lilibet, obviously disguised in a suit.
The public, but there are reports that they got a special sort of celebrity VIP package which is offered to high-profile guests, which sees them sort of driven around backstage and also given the cast entrances and exits so that they're not in the public space as much. And also it appears that the kids may have had their little cute Mickey and Minnie Mouse ears on.
And baby, this is where it turned into a full-blown takedown. Guests said the atmosphere felt planned, like the entire room had silently rehearsed rejecting Meghan. The moment she stepped into the spotlight, the energy shifted. Everyone turned their heads away, avoided talking, and refused to acknowledge her. It wasn't just awkward silence, it was a wall of indifference. One insider even said, it felt like everyone had practiced this moment. That's how unified it was. Can you imagine the sting? Hollywood is an industry that thrives on networking and attention. But here, it was like they collectively said, we don't see you. You don't exist. For Meghan, it wasn't just an uncomfortable night, it was a very public collapse of credibility. No lifelines, no allies, no hand reaching out to say, hey, you belong here. It was the equivalent of being iced out of Hollywood in real time. And if that wasn't savage enough, her erasure from official coverage sealed the deal.
And Louise, on that post for All Life, a little bit of confused messaging this week over the future of As Ever. Is it being put on hold? Is it launching new products? What's actually going on?
Well, who knows? I don't think even Meghan knows what her so-called lifestyle brand is doing. As Ever, of course, which used to be...
Brace yourself, because Meghan's humiliation spiraled even further. Booing and rejection weren't the end. Oh no! Hollywood decided to erase her existence entirely. While other stars had their photos splashed across highlight reels, official press galleries, and HBO's glamorous coverage, Meghan was completely absent. No interviews, no red carpet shots, no passing mentions, nothing. It was as if she never walked through those doors. She was reduced to a ghost guest, tolerated only long enough to avoid a bigger scandal, then scrubbed from the story. Imagine being in a room where cameras define your value only to realize they've deliberately turned away from you. That's not just rejection, that's obliteration. And as if things weren't bad enough, Meghan's own team made a desperate move that proved just how messy things had become.
Absolute muddle. I mean, she's playing at being an entrepreneur. Clearly, she should have got a proper CEO or entrepreneur in charge of the business, and she may not have found herself in this mess, but I don't believe she was able to find the right person.
Here's where the desperation oozed through. Meghan's team tried to rewrite history the very next morning. They pushed staged photos to the media, trying to spin the illusion that Meghan had been part of the Emmy celebration. Fake smiles, carefully posed shots, all sent out like desperate invitations for someone to bite. But Hollywood wasn't having it. Not a single reputable outlet ran the photos. None of the big licensing agencies touched them. The silence was deafening. And here's the thing. In this industry, when media giants collectively reject your images, it's intentional. It's the industry sending a message. We don't want her in the spotlight. It was a last-ditch attempt to claw back relevance, but instead it screamed how far she had fallen. Even her PR machine was out of sync with reality. Meghan was erased, and no one, not even tabloids hungry for clicks, wanted to rewrite her story. And if that wasn't brutal enough, insiders confirmed the harshest truth yet. And darling, here's where it cuts the deepest. Insiders revealed the Emmy night wasn't just about Meghan being uninvited, it was about her being a liability. Let me repeat that, a liability. She hadn't contributed to any Emmy-worthy project. She wasn't there to celebrate real work, real achievements. Instead, she was crashing a party meant for Hollywood's hardest-working talents. While others earned their place with years of blood, sweat, and scripts, Meghan showed up with nothing but a name. And even that name now sparked whispers of desperation. Imagine standing in a ballroom filled with industry giants who built legacies, while you're remembered only for a royal exit, failed deals, and flopped projects. That contrast was glaring. Her fall from grace wasn't just obvious, it was painful to watch. And Hollywood? They decided to treat her like dead weight. And baby, the worst part? Meghan herself made it sting even harder with her own behavior. And honey, let me paint this picture for you. Because Meghan's fall from grace couldn't have been written better by Hollywood's sharpest screenwriters. Not long ago, she was draped in royal gowns, showered with adoration, and fawned over by media like she was untouchable. She had fans screaming her name, tabloids racing to cover her every move. But at the Emmy event, Oh, the shine was gone, replaced with awkward stares, whispers of desperation, and a room full of people who wanted nothing to do with her. Guests who once would have lined up to pose for a picture now turned their backs, leaving Meghan drifting through the room like a lonely shadow. Instead of the admiration she once commanded, she got pity. Instead of buzzworthy chatter, she became a walking cautionary tale. One guest summed it up perfectly, saying, "She floated through the room like someone chasing attention while everyone else just kept walking." Can you imagine that? To go from global headline maker to complete non-factor in such a short time, the contrast was savage, and it set the stage for an ending that wasn't just humiliating, it was career-erasing. She wanted headlines, and oh baby, she got them, but not the kind she dreamed of. Now the world waits, popcorn in hand, to see if Meghan takes this as her curtain call, or if she tries, once again, to claw her way back into a spotlight that seems to have permanently dimmed.